People are quick to complain when travel plans go wrong. A delayed flight, a lost bag, a bumpy ride. But imagine your entire ship sinking. And then imagine it happens to you more than once. From the icy waters of the Titanic to the explosive chaos of World War I, these are the stories of four remarkable individuals who, again and again, faced multiple ship sinkings on the high seas. Welcome to History Corner. We begin with Wenman Wykeham-Musgrave, who at only 15 years old, was serving as a midshipman in the Royal Navy. He was stationed aboard the HMS Aboukir, one of 3 British cruisers patrolling the North Sea during World War I, the other 2 being the HMS Hogue and the HMS Cressy. In September 1914, they were on patrol just off the Dutch coast when they were attacked by a German U-boat. The Aboukir was hit with a torpedo, the ship sank quickly, and chaos erupted as men leapt into the sea. Wenman swam as fast as he could to avoid being sucked down with the ship. He was picked up by the Hogue, only to be torpedoed a few minutes later. Once again, he found himself in the water swimming for his life. He swam to the Cressy and again was back in the water after she too was torpedoed. All 3 ships sank, all by the same German submarine, within an hour. Wenman found a piece of driftwood to keep him afloat. He was later picked up by a Dutch trawler. Wenman carried on in the Royal Navy, reaching the rank of commander. Next up is Archie Jewell, a lookout aboard the Titanic. Archie Jewell also began his maritime career at the age of 15. He started out on smaller ships, but after a year, he joined the White Star Line. In April of 1912, he was assigned to the Titanic as a lookout. He wasn't on duty when the ship struck the iceberg. Jewell made it off safely aboard Lifeboat 7, the very first to launch. After the tragedy, he kept working at sea. In 1916, he was serving aboard the Britannic, the Titanic's sister ship. During World War I, several civilian ocean liners were recommissioned as hospital ships, the Britannic being one of them. Shortly after 8 a.m., as the Britannic was steaming into the Key Channel in the Aegean Sea, it was rocked by an explosion. A month earlier, the German Navy had planted mines in the channel. In just under an hour, the ship went under. Jewell had survived yet again. You'd think after that, he'd stick to dry land. But no. In 1916, Jewell left White Star and was aboard the SS Donegal. The SS Donegal was a British passenger ferry converted into a hospital ship during World War I. On April 17, 1917, she was sailing from Le Havre, France, to Southampton, England, carrying 610 wounded soldiers home. Though clearly marked with Red Cross symbols and illuminated for identification, the Donegal was torpedoed without warning by the German submarine UB-32 off the coast of Devon. The explosion tore through her hull, and the ship sank within minutes. Archie's body was never found. After surviving 2 of history's most famous sinkings, his third would sadly be his last. And then we come to Violet Jessop. In 1911, at age 24, Violet Jessop was working as a stewardess for the RMS Olympic. The Olympic was the largest civilian liner at that time. In September, Olympic, captained by Edward Smith. Yes, the same that would captain the Titanic 6 months later, collided with a British warship but managed to limp back to port. The Royal Navy blamed the Olympic, claiming that the large amount of water displaced by Olympic had generated a suction that had drawn Hawke off course. The following year, Violet took a job on the Titanic, once again as a stewardess. When the ship struck the iceberg, she calmly helped passengers board lifeboats and eventually escaped aboard Lifeboat 16. You might think that would end her sea career, but no. In 1916, she was working as a nurse aboard the Britannic when it hit the mine in the Aegean. Violet had to jump from her lifeboat to avoid being shredded by the ship's propeller. She barely escaped the suction of the sinking ship and suffered a head injury, but she survived. 3 sister ships, Olympic, Titanic, and Britannic. 3 disasters, and Violet Jessop lived through them all. She later wrote in her memoir, "I survived, and I will go on." And she did, working on ships for decades after. She died of congestive heart failure in 1971 at the age of 83. Finally, there's Arthur John Priest, known by his crewmates as the Unsinkable Stoker. Priest would survive 4 ship sinkings and 2 major collisions. He worked deep below deck, in the boiler rooms, the most dangerous part of any ship. The collisions were aboard the HMS Asturias in 1908, suffered a hole in the side of the ship, and almost sank in the Atlantic, but miraculously managed to make it back to port, and the RMS Olympic in 1911. Like Violet Jessop, Priest served aboard the Titanic and survived its sinking in 1912. It was reported that he suffered frostbite to his toes and an injured leg in his escape from the Titanic. But that was just the beginning. In 1916, he was aboard the HMS Alcantara. On February 29, 1916, during World War I, the British armed merchant cruiser HMS Alcantara encountered the German raider SMS Greif in the North Sea. The Greif was disguised as a neutral Norwegian freighter, but when Alcantara drew close to inspect her, the German ship suddenly revealed her hidden guns and opened fire at point-blank range. The British ship returned fire immediately, and for the next 15 minutes, the two vessels blasted each other at close quarters, a deadly duel between disguised liners. Both ships were badly hit. Flames spread across their decks, and explosions tore through their hulls. In the end, both the Alcantara and the Greif sank within sight of each other. Over 200 sailors lost their lives that day, but survivors from both sides were rescued by nearby British ships. He was then assigned to the Britannic, and we already know what happened there. In 1917, Priest was on the SS Donegal. Yes, the same Donegal as Archie Jewell, but whereas Jewell did not survive, Priest did. By the time the war ended, Priest had survived so many disasters that few captains wanted him aboard. He survived all of those disasters only to die at the young age of 49 from pneumonia. At sea, survival often comes down to chance, yet for some, it becomes a testament to quiet courage. Wenman Wykeham-Musgrave, Archie Jewell, Violet Jessop, and Arthur Priest lived through the unimaginable, carrying the memory of those who did not. They were not legends or heroes by choice, simply people who endured when the odds said they shouldn't. Thanks for watching and subscribing. If you're not subscribed, please do. See you next time.